Well, we start with game one, where we got to see what happens when Toronto's explosive lineup faces Los Angeles' bullpen, and it leads to straight carnage. The sixth inning in game one resulted in 9 runs for the Blue Jays, including Addison Barger's pinch hit grand slam, the first and the only one in the 122-year history of the World Series. Blake Snell was hit with 5 earned runs. Emmett Sheehan and Anthony Bando were hit with 3 each, and the Dodgers just couldn't get past the Blue Jays' lineup. Toronto won that game 11-4, but the tables turned. Game 2. The Dodgers bullpen got a rest as Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw a complete game 1-run gem, and thanks in part to catcher Will Smith's 3 RBI performance, the Dodgers won that game 5-1, and as was said before, the series is tied going into Game 3 in Los Angeles tonight. Welcome back to College Press Box. Texas women's basketball continued their dominant start to the season. Larry Liu and Bradson Swick were at the Moody Center for their matchup against Prairie View A&M. Let's take a look. Texas men's golfer Christian Mass earned an exemption into this year's DP World Tour Hero Dubai Desert Classic in January. He'll get the opportunity to play in the tournament after working his way to the number 5 amateur in the world and number 2 in the PGA University Class of 2026 rankings. Previous amateurs to earn an exemption into this event include Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau. All right, thank you for your analysis, Perla. When College Press Box returns, we'll talk about the hyped SEC home opening series at the Dish between the Longhorns and the number 2 ranked LSU Tigers. And MLB opening day is right around the corner. We'll break it all down for you. You won't want to miss it. Good morning and welcome to the 1-0 Sports Show. We have a lot to get to. It's going to be a great show today, but before we begin, we want to remind you, today's show is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride to your next Longhorns game at catmetro.org. Okay, getting right into it, we're going to get to our first block of the day. Who's hot and who's not? We're going to go to you, Santi. Who do you think is hot right now? Well, that's a great question, and really it's pretty simple. The entire series rests on the pitching staff of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers rotation is lights out with Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, and even, yes, Shohei Ohtani. But their bullpen has been their Achilles heel all year and so far in the series. If the Dodgers want to win, they need to cash in deep game performances from their starting rotation, minimize the use of their bullpen. But on the contrary, if the Blue Jays want to win, they need to do what they did in Game 1. Get past the starters, make the bullpen do more work. The Blue Jays and their explosive lineup have the ability to put major runs up on the Dodgers in a short amount of time. Now, with Los Angeles having 3 games at home after a 1-1 series tie over in Toronto, the Jays' ability to go through pitchers is going to be paramount to their chances of taking this World Series.
Good answer.
I'm going to go a little optimistic. Now, obviously, the Longhorns lost this game, and I don't think anyone would have expected them to take this one against a Duke team, but there are some bright spots for me, specifically in terms of rebounds. They led the rebound battle 41-37. They had only 3 less defensive rebounds, 23-26 in Duke's favor, but 18-11 in offensive rebounds. However, even though they won the rebound battle, which is something I think is extremely important, if you're going to win a basketball game or a basketball title, you need to win the rebound battle. They only scored 8 points off of those rebounds. You have to score points off of defensive rebounds in order to beat a highly offensive team to kind of to kind of make them pay for their mistakes. So I think we're seeing that Texas is making a statement. They are physical under Sean Miller. They have a shot to win games. If they can score off of rebounds, this is a good team.
For sure.
I'm going to go similarly. It's not a person. It's not it technically is a game, except it's not a game anymore. All-star games in general have been atrocious lately. I mean, you're looking at the screen. What is this? We're putting the best players in the NFL, we're making them play dodgeball against each other? Where are the days where we had the West and East, or the AFC and the NFC, just play each other in a game of football to see what's the best conference? I mean, wasn't there a time when we played these and then the winner got home field? I don't understand what the Pro Bowl games even are. And then let's go to the NBA, because they're trying this new thing, and I'm not a fan of it. We have 3 teams of the best players in the NBA, and then a team of rising stars in a bracket tournament. This is not first of all, it's not even an all-star game anymore. It's all-star games. There's multiple. And at some point, you're getting too creative. You're getting too weird. And people just stop watching. I mean, the Pro Bowl games, it used to be an honor to be called a Pro Bowler. Drake May was a Pro Bowler this year because no one else wanted to play. That is atrocious. He is not a Pro Bowler, but no one wants to watch these. And I do want to give a shout out to the only All-Star game that is actually good still, Major League Baseball. We still have a home run derby, and you still are playing a game that is just a baseball game, and it's something that's still fun to watch. Please don't change it. Hey guys, Tyler Strempel, Texas Student Television. This kind of is a question for you, Coach, and you, Ty Anthony. In the fourth quarter, defense seemed to dominate just a little bit more. Was there like a message that was said going into the fourth quarter? What changed to allow you to make those big plays?
Yeah, I think just kind of Colin brought the boys in and just said, let's finish this thing. Let's play together, let's stay tight, and let's do it for one another. And I feel like, just him putting that energy in just kind of, helped us out too as well. So.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't reference Colin today. He was extremely disruptive in the game. Colin's another guy that as you grow in our program, you start to assume new roles, new responsibilities, and he's grown into one of the leaders on that defense with this guy, and it felt very natural and comfortable. It didn't feel fabricated. When he went to speak to the team, it felt like that's exactly what he was supposed to do in that moment. And so, like I said, that's a good sign for us moving forward.
Jelena, you're going into your fourth season here at Texas. How do you feel like you've grown over those past 3 years, and how do you think you'll be able to use that next year as one of the leaders on the team?
Just me growing as a whole, man. It's just me stepping into the leadership role has, I feel like, helped me on and off the field. Connecting with my teammates, telling them what to do on the field. Like all that. Like I feel like it's gonna be a fun year, man. We're gonna turn it up, man.
I'm here outside of Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, where the 13th ranked Texas Longhorns just defeated the 18th ranked Michigan Wolverines 41-27 in the 80th edition of the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. And one of the main focuses of the day was whether or not this team would be able to perform with 9 starters out and 20 scholarship people not suiting up. And the answer to that question was yes, they would be able to perform. Arch Manning had one of the best games of his college career, ending the game with a 66-yard touchdown run. And then just before that, before an interception by Anthony Smith, throwing a dime, a 30-yard dime, in fact, to Khalil Lockett right over the shoulder in order to seal this victory for the Texas Longhorns. And in the post-game press conference, a lot of the focus was on the team's performance without those starters. And Steve Sarkisian had this to say.
We played without 9 starters today. We played with over 20 scholarship players not suited up for practice. And it created great opportunities. And, I think about the great game Arch had. I think about the amazing game that Anthony had. But I also think about Christian Clark, a guy who probably didn't get as many carries as he would have liked this season for him to show up the way that he did today. I think about Wardell Mack stepping in and playing star, but because of all the injuries and guys opting out in the secondary, has to go in at corner and getting an interception. I think about Khalil Lockett going into the game, making a huge touchdown catch at a critical moment in the ball game. And so that's the culture that we have.
Anyone who was watching the game could tell you about the momentum shift that the Texas defense had late in the fourth quarter. I was at the postgame press conference, and I asked Anthony Smith what the message was in the locker room before the fourth quarter that allowed that momentum shift to happen. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think just kind of Colin brought the boys in and just said, let's finish this thing. Let's play together, let's stay tight, and let's do it for one another. And I feel like, just him putting that energy in just kind of, helped us out too as well. So.
Steve Sarkisian in the post-game press conference spoke a little bit about what he expects for the next season, about building up the culture with all of the new faces from high school coming in, about trying to keep a core nucleus throughout the transfer portal and NFL draft departures, and in a way that is happening. Arch Manning staying for the next season, Jelani McDonald staying for the next season. So now all eyes will again be on Texas as they start preparing in the offseason for what should be a very fun to watch 2026 campaign. For Texas Student Television Sports, I'm Tyler Strempel.